Hello everybody, Shiny Squirtle here, and today I'm going to be doing another episode of Running with the Pack. It's been a while since I've done one. This one, we've got our topics right over there, and the first one of which it looks like is going to be our point standings update. So we're currently 9 races in, and 10th race is 2 weeks away because Talladega, Easter stuff. So let's pull up the point standings real quick. We've got ourselves at the top of the standings. To probably no one's surprise at this point, we see Kyle Busch with his 3 wins now after Bristol. Yeah, 3 wins. So, yeah, Phoenix Auto Club and Bristol. Then we see Joey Logano up there. He got his win at Las Vegas and has done well in the points. Denny Hamlin has his 2 wins over there. Denny Hamlin has his 2 wins that are locking him into the playoffs. So those guys really probably aren't going to be going anywhere. And the battle for the battle for the points championship for like the regular season championship is 20 points separating Logano and Kyle Busch. So unless Kyle Busch starts having some bad races, he'll probably win the regular season championship again. Then we got Kevin Harvick, first guy not locked in on points. So he's still probably not locked in with a win, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's probably gonna score a win come Dover or Kansas in a couple weeks. Then we've got Brian Keselowski with his wins, as well as Martin Truex Jr. finally got his short track win, so that's one of those exciting races that we had, Richmond Raceway. But yeah, and then. Really, the only surprise in like the top 12 for me was Daniel Suarez there in 12th place. So I'm not too surprised to see Clint Bowyer, Ryan Blaney, Kurt Busch running as well as they are. For them to be in the top 10 in points, that's not that surprising for me. But then, of course, there's the elephant in the room in the fact that there is little something missing from the points over there, which it happens to be the fact that Alex Bowman is not even in the top 20 in points right now. Yeah, Hendrick Motorsports in general, they've got 2 cars inside the top 16. And currently, I believe Eric Jones is the first car. Yeah, Eric Jones is the first car out. Paul Menard and Newman are just about in. Stenhouse is out, currently in the 18th spot. Larson, that's another one. Larson, you got to start finishing races to rack up some points to get into this playoffs. Or, hey, you know what? Larson, never mind. Let's just go win Kansas in a couple weeks here. Considering you were so close last year in these fall race, but in the end, Chase Elliott got you at the end. Or didn't even get you. He held on over you and Kyle Busch. But, yeah, so that's the main points rundown. Jones and Larson are 2 of the big shocks that are outside the points. Of course, Eric Jones is only out by 1 point, while Larson is out by quite a bit more. He's out by like 13 points. And the fact that there are only 2 Hendrick cars up there, kind of surprised that Jimmy is still up there. I mean, I guess because he's been knocking out some top 10s recently, it would make sense that he's in the top 16, but I thought Byron and Bowman were running better than they apparently are according to the points. I guess they're running good, they just aren't finishing good. So that's that point. And then the other thing we had to talk about is is that there are rumors going around, and it was actually on one of the podcasts that has like TJ Majors and Brett Griffin on there. It's in Dale Jr.'s circle. I can't remember the name of it, but rumors that the entire series, except for road courses, is going to be single car qualifying. So they're changing it again, and I really hope they don't go back to single car qualifying. It probably is the most logical, it's probably the one that they should go back to if they want to do pure, the best, make sure the fastest car is on the pole. But if they want, let's say, it to continue to be televised, I don't think single car qualifying is the way to go if they want to keep televising qualifying. Now, if they put it on NASCAR.com like they probably will if they do go back there, then I don't mind them going to single car. But yeah, that's the big thing there. And then something you guys probably have been looking over at the list over there and been wondering, and I'm probably going to put that in the title somewhere. I've gone and spent a little bit of time to make a perfect NASCAR schedule. Of course, there's no true perfect NASCAR schedule without spending like $1 trillion to build like 3 or 4 new tracks or renovate some really old tracks. But so far, this is what I got for my schedule, and I know it looks a little odd because it pops out over here. But so my idea was to start off the season, go straight to the West Coast swing, and hit Sonoma. We actually saw some pictures taken from Sonoma Raceway in January, and yes, my season actually does start pretty much as soon as the new year kicks in for it starts like mid-January for 2021. Because I actually have the dates and everything over here, and with these exact dates, there would be exactly, I believe, 6 or 7 dates that would interfere with the NFL, that would have basically TV ratings affected by the NFL directly. But we go to Sonoma, Auto Club, Phoenix, Las Vegas for our West Coast swing, and on our way to Daytona for the 500, which would then be the 6th race of the season. We actually hit the Circuit of the Americas as well on our way over, so our West Coast swing is actually now Sonoma includes 2 road courses as well as the 3 tracks it currently includes. So now you hit 2 road courses, a mile-long track, a 1.5 mile, and a 2-miler. And then I was thinking the Clash, to avoid making it just the Daytona 500 again, we could run it on. Daytona has the road course. Let's run 40 laps around the Daytona road course as the Clash. So that it's not just and let's run it at night so that it's not just the Daytona 500 again. And of course, the road course is lit up well enough to host a night race, unlike the Charlotte road course, which I don't know how well it's lit up for the infield section. But of course, the 24-hour race happens there every year, and that doesn't appear to be affected by it being too dark. So I'd say that would be a good one. And then we head into the biggest spectacle of them all, the Daytona 500. And this will put it about where it is. It's like exactly 1 month later than it would normally be. So it would be in March. I checked, and I don't think it would overlap here with the Gator Nationals. And if it would, I'd say just swap Atlanta and Daytona if it does end up overlapping with the Gator Nationals and the 12 Hours of Sebring, so that you don't have major racing events in Florida overlapping like NASCAR is doing for 2020 and Homestead, but that's a whole nother topic. Then we go on to Atlanta, then we head up a little bit more north and go hit the Bristol for the day race, and then we hit Richmond for the night race to counteract the night race, as well as a day race at Martinsville. So 3 short tracks there, and actually adding Rockingham as another short track in that swing. And as you guys might not have noticed, but my schedule is actually only 32 races long, mainly just so that we'll start earlier in the year and we'll end on Columbus Day weekend, so that it doesn't eat as far into football season. Not that I think a lot of people... I think that football definitely impacts the TV ratings for NASCAR recently. Not that football's new to interfering, but it certainly isn't helping any. So if we can have less races impacted by those TV ratings, and I actually have an off week in the earlier part of the season for the Super Bowl so that we don't have a race running on the Super Bowl weekend, because that just doesn't seem like a smart decision. But then I put Bristol, Richmond, Martinsville, and Rockingham. So four short tracks in there leading into Talladega, kind of like what we have now, where we have the short track swing that we just went through, where we go to tracks like Bristol, Martinsville, Richmond, and Texas. It's not a short track by any means, but it's short compared to Talladega. So just kind of hitting four true short tracks on our way to Talladega. And then we hit Pocono right after that, and then kind of as we're going north, we'll even hit Watkins Glen. And then we get a road course and we get our Pocono race out of the way. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I did trim a Pocono date from our schedule. But I definitely made up with that with some of the creativity in the schedule. But then after Watkins Glen, we head down for the Charlotte All-Star Race and the Charlotte 600. Two pretty big events that are probably not going to be changing their time or date anytime soon. So that's still over Memorial Day weekend, and the All-Star Race is still at Charlotte as well. And then I have the tour going up to the Milwaukee Mile, which is a short track. It's one of those 1 milers. I think it's a short track, and that's over. If I'm not mistaken, it's over in Wisconsin. I might be wrong on that, but it's over in the north middle of the country. So try and get more towards that northwestern audience, and then we also head up into Canada for Canadian Tire, as kind of a two race swing where we go up north, and also Canadian Tire would then kind of expand the potential that in the future we could also expand to some more international events, like maybe like I've heard rumored a exhibition race in Australia, or maybe even going down to Mexico and running a race or two. This just kind of starts opening those doors once it becomes not just an American tracks. But yeah, and then once we get through Canadian Tire, we've got we hit the tracks. Then we go down to Chicagoland and Daytona. I like those two races this year, so I figured if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Although it isn't broken, and they decided to try and fix it by moving Indianapolis and Pocono into those two slots. But we're not talking about the schedule for 2020. We're talking about my idea for a 2021 schedule. And then we've got, after we go to Chicago and Daytona, then we head over to St. Louis for Gateway and Bristol. So we kind of head a little bit more scatterbrained, and we head up to St. Louis and Bristol. Might even swap those two around to make it flow a little better. But yeah, two more short tracks to help kind of get us through summer without having the summer slump that a lot of people say, where we go to like Kentucky and Kansas and just a bunch of boring 1.5-mile tracks. And then we go to Darlington, and I think I've got Darlington is our new end off for the regular season. So sorry, I've got it over here on the screen, but it's over here on my actual computer. So but yeah, so Darlington would end off the regular season rather than just being close now. And I think I still have it over I think I moved it off the holiday weekend just because then it would be in the playoffs, and I do not want the playoff banner stuff messing with the paint schemes. But again, not commenting on trying not to comment too much on the 2020 schedule. If you guys want to see me review that, I can. If not, I don't think I need to make a video on it. But then we go for the playoffs. We go to Richmond, Dover, Roval for the first round, and I think that would the short track. We have the short track. We got the mile-long track. That's the fast mile-long track of Dover, and then we go to the Charlotte Road Course, and that's pretty close to what the tracks are now. Like you have Las Vegas instead of Dover there, but I think that there would be a pretty good set of races But then the next round is one of those that I actually had to mess around with after some recent news. But after Roval, we go to Talladega. I do like the idea of having Roval and Talladega back-to-back weeks, just basically giving the teams no real time to breathe after they panic their way through the Roval, and then they have to go into the super speedway of Dega, where anything can happen, which we'll get to see in a couple weeks what the new package is going to do to Dega, because we don't actually know what it's going to do to the big tracks like that. I'm kind of nervous that it's not going to be great, but I'm still optimistic. But then after Talladega, we head to Texas and Iowa to finish off the round. So we head western so we go to Talladega in Alabama, and then we head over to Texas, then we head up to Iowa to end off the round. So we then have another 1.5 mile track in the round, and we have a short track to end it off. I think that would produce some pretty good racing. I also have the lap counts, but they're basically pretty close to what I believe the NASCAR would actually do. Doesn't really matter in the end, but yeah, and then there's the then after you go to Iowa, we head a state or two over, and we hit Mid-Ohio. I don't have Eldora on here mainly because I don't think it can hold the crowd capacity necessary to hold a cup race. I think that's the only thing really holding me back from putting a dirt track on here. So if we got a dirt track that I think could hold a cup crowd, I'd say I'd put a cup crowd on there. So then we go to Mid-Ohio, we hit Kansas, and then we hit Phoenix to end off that, because I like the way the playoffs end right now with like Phoenix as the final cutoff race. And then Homestead's been a good championship track. I'd like to see it rotate, but if we were to pick one, I think Homestead is fine as a championship track. Like, I know everybody says like how it was used too much. I think yes, I think it definitely should rotate so that it's not just if Larson gets there, he wins. But if we're keeping it at one track, I'd say that would be a good track. Also, maybe putting Las Vegas in that rotation, just kind of some struggling events. I was actually considering moving Kansas in there as well. But one of the tracks I kind of hinted at, I had to add Iowa at the last second because because of recent news about I had Nashville Fairgrounds in that slot. Actually, in an earlier slot, I had it going from Charlotte to Nashville, but with an apartment complex going 20 feet away from the main gate of Nashville, I don't see a way that track is going to operate past like 2020. So that's going to that's like the one thing I had there. So man, this video's gone on a lot longer than I expected it would. So and I still have another topic over there. So yeah, kind of the main points that I was changing it up is adding Sonoma as the first race of the schedule as a throwback to Riverside, which was a while ago the first race of this season, which was a California road course. So that was one, pushing the Daytona 500 back a couple weeks, getting Atlanta to a non-rainy date, or to hopefully a less rainy date. Adding Rockingham and actually giving Rockingham, I think we gave it, I gave it one date on the schedule. But yeah, so I gave Rockingham a date. I don't think I put too many tracks on here twice. I think I put like Bristol as one of the only tracks that I actually gave 2 dates to, like that and Richmond. I don't even think I gave Martinsville a second date because I gave that to Iowa. I think I gave the second Martinsville race to. But then also adding tracks like Coda, which are new tracks that weren't really around, that hadn't been established when NASCAR was setting the track deals that they've got now. But I still have the Texas Motor Speedway on there, so yeah, I think this schedule, it would work for a while, actually. Like, that's the thing I think with the schedule, though. Let's take a few years, get a good schedule that'll last us through, like, the 2029, 2030 season. And then, so that we aren't changing it every couple of years and forcing change. Let's come up with a great schedule that'll keep people interested for years. Same thing with the aero package. Take 2, 3, 4 years to develop an aero package that will be, and test it, and try and find one that'll be competitive and that hopefully will stick for then a while, like what happened with the Gen 4 car. Not saying I don't like the Gen 7 or the new Gen Aero package, but the Gen 7 car, it needs some change. It's going to need to change. It's going to need to be good, but with their planned release date, it'll be tough to make it. So, yeah, that's my schedule. And now the one other thing I wanted to mention before I sign off this video here is so I will be attending some in-life races at both Richmond Karting Speedway just up the road from me, as well as a couple towns over at the Wiscasset Speedway. So I'm gonna be doing some vlogs over there at those two races, or at some races over there. I don't know when those will be, so but they're gonna be during the month of May. So look forward to that, as well as I'm looking forward to watching the Indianapolis 500 coming up. That's going to be one busy day with the Indy 500 and the Coke 600. But, hey, thank you guys all for watching to this massive ramble. And, hey, if you guys are anywhere near those tracks, feel free to let me know and say hi when I'm there. So, see you guys in the next video. Bye.